Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Thank you so much for joining me today. In today's video, I just want to do a February roundup. This will be the last one of these that we do before the month of Ramadan, actually. So we've got some important things to talk about. There's 5 updates in particular. I'll leave the best until last, so stick around until the end. The first one is the charity raising. Obviously, at the beginning of January, we started our partnership with Muslim Hands at the beginning of January to raise enough money to provide winter clothing for 20 families in refugee camps in Syria this winter. We have reached that target. Alhamdulillah, the goal was to do it in January and February. As I'm recording this, it's before the end of February, so we've already reached our target. And we're able to raise more than £1,200 for families in Syria. A little bit more money has come in, but all of that will just go to extra supplies for them as well, inshallah. I think it's £60 for winter supplies for one family, right? So the way it worked out would be 20 families for 1,200. So I think we actually have enough for 21 families now, because I think there's an extra 60. But the fundraising is actually still open. So if you want to contribute anything, inshallah, and be part of that, then it'd really mean the world to me. Next thing is we will be doing a Ramadan challenge, inshallah. Last year we weren't able to because Yusuf fell sick just before the beginning of Ramadan. And I was in hospital with him for a lot of the month. But this year, alhamdulillah, we're all in good health. We ask that Allah keep us all in good health. We will look to do a Ramadan challenge this year. I'm looking at doing a walkthrough of the tafsir of Surah Al-Anbiya. In the poll that I recently did on my YouTube channel, there was like a split opinion between whether we should do like a something from like Quran vocabulary, or whether we should do something from the stories of the prophets, or whether we should do something from a tafsir. And I thought a way that we could do all of them at once would be to do a tafsir walkthrough of the surah of the prophets, right? We'll have loads of Quranic vocabulary, we'll be doing a tafsir, and we'll be learning stories of the prophets by going through some of that surah. The next point is with my move here to Somalia. I've been here for 6 months now, and I would like to start creating more content about my life here in Somalia, but mostly because people have demanded it. Like, I'm not really like a vlog, this is my life type of YouTuber. And it probably won't be that. It'll be like me in my office having a chat with you guys like this for the most part. I might have some B-roll of me at the beach in Somalia, or I might have a conversation with me in Somali with with someone or whatever. But I'm thinking about doing more stuff on my Sam of Somalia channel. So go over to that channel. The first thing I'm going to do in the next couple of weeks probably is just a kind of open, these are my thoughts on living in Somalia for 6 months. I'll just do like an open podcast episode like that, and then see where that takes us. If there's particular things people want me to focus on and details about life here and things like that and how to move here, visas, security, food, cost of living, all that sort of stuff, we can get into that later. The next update, I think this is number four, is some sad news about the podcast. So I think we will be able to find a way around it, but nonetheless, it's kind of sad that the platform that I host my podcast with, it's a platform called Anchor. Anchor, they take care of the distribution of the podcast for me. So if you listen on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or Stitcher or Podbean or whatever, right? There's loads of platforms out there now. Whatever platform you listen on, I think my podcast's on 14 or 13 platforms. It's on there because Anchor take care of that for me. Anchor are taking away access to their platform in Somalia in March. So literally the 3rd of March, Anchor are just saying, "Soz, there's no more podcasts for you." So I'm not sure how we'll get around it at the moment. Like either I'll use someone from my team in the UK, or I'll use a VPN. Maybe we'll just be able to get around it in that way, or we'll just have to be more selective with our platforms or something like that. Or I might have to become a Rumbler and just be on Rumble like all the people who get cancelled. That's an option as well. Anyway, I don't know how many of you guys are on Rumble. Let me know in the comments if you're on Rumble. I don't know how it's kind of growing, like in the kind of like Andrew Tate space and like post Andrew Tate stuff. Do we have a code for him actually? Do we need to say top G instead of Andrew Tate? I don't know what the YouTube's algorithms are, whether you get banned or whatever. If I find out I've got a community guidelines violation because I mentioned him, then I'll be livid. Anyway. Okay, so that's an issue with the podcast. So if there's a delay or a hiccup in receiving episodes of the podcast, then that's why. We just haven't ironed out how we're going to continue to do that. But it's kind of crazy, isn't it? Like I've got a podcast, right? 600,000 downloads on that podcast, right? We're well over 500,000 downloads on that podcast. Like it could be someone's livelihood, right? In Somalia. In fact, my Somali teacher started a podcast through Anchor, right? Like a few months ago, because I mentioned that's where I host my podcast and stuff like that. And like Anchor are just saying, bye. Sorry. Which is kind of sad. Also, ChatGPT is not available in Somalia. Loads of my friends, my colleagues and stuff in the UK and the US are saying, oh, we're automating this stuff in our business with ChatGPT. ChatGPT, not available in Somalia. So there you go. There's a lot of things. I don't want to digress too much, but there's lots of things that are not available in Somalia, which can be a hindrance to your online business. But anyway, we can talk about that on an episode over on the Sam of Somalia channel. So the last and most important of the announcements. So there are some big changes coming up for the Arabic in 60 Steps program. There's either going to be a shutdown of it. That is dramatic, isn't it? There's either going to be an effective closing of the program or a complete repackaging. So there is an organization, one of the co-founders of which has been on the podcast recently. And I've been in discussions with them about joining their team. After my podcast with them, I don't like. Should I mention for those who want to, you could find out who it is probably. Okay, so after our episode of the podcast, we kind of started talking about what I do well in my work and what they do well in their work, and we kind of decided that it would be best for the Arabic students of the world and those that we serve to kind of join forces and me actually become an employee of their organization. There's lots of things that we've kind of discussed as a recording of this video, and I've told the students of the Arabic in 60 Steps program this before anybody else, but but we've kind of talked about acquiring the podcast maybe, or it looking more like a buyout, or then being like a commission for me on what students I bring over, and that all of that is like is all up in the air really at the moment, but I'm really interested in joining them because I think it really ultimately would serve the Arabic students of the world better than us having split organizations. So that's kind of in the works. But even if that doesn't go through for whatever reason, it might not work out, whatever, okay? Even if it doesn't go through, I need to repackage the program. It needs to have some work done to it. Like with all programs, right? No matter how good they are, when you recorded some of the content a couple of years ago, you could do with sharpening up, right? That's all it is. So there are only 60 places left. I received an email today from the woman who manages the fulfillment of my books. She counted 62 books. But I want to keep a couple, even after that, in case students lose their books or whatever, right? So max, there are 60 places left. There are some big benefits to joining now. Going forward, when I kind of repackage the program and focus it on what we're really good at and repackage it a little bit, inshallah, I very, very highly doubt that the book will be included. It'll be separate. Students have to buy it separately. I very, very seriously doubt that there'll be lifetime access. And I also seriously doubt there'll be the WhatsApp support. So there's lots of reasons why it will benefit you to get into the program now. In terms of keeping access to whatever we re-record later, at the very least, you'll have a hefty discount for it. I may just think this is close enough to the 60 Steps program that I can just consider it an update and I'll just give you guys access to it. But at the moment, I just can't promise that. But at the very least, you will have lifetime access to what the Arabic in 60 Steps program is now, right? And that's something that there are only 60 humans on Earth can have. And then another thing is that it'll also take a while to re-record and repackage and rewrite and reconceptualize a lot of the program. So you may even be waiting a while to even become a member of the program. So to join the program, be one of these last 60, there'll be immense benefits, including a Ramadan challenge as well that'll be specific for the students on the program. So please don't dilly-dally. If you're a student who's been in the background, been listening to the podcast, been watching the YouTube channel all these years, you've been thinking, maybe I'll join, maybe I'll do this later, it's a cool program, but maybe I'm not ready, blah, blah, blah. Get yourself on the program. I'd love to meet you. I'd hate for people who have been listening to the podcast for years and we're thinking maybe I'll be part of the program at some point for you guys to miss out. So I'd love to meet you. I'd love to see you on the inside of the program. But as I say, only 60 of you will be able to join because that's how many books there are left. And after that, it'll be time for a big reshape in the structure of Arabic in 60 Steps. Thank you so much for listening. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.